from 8th grade.
Hey guys, thank you for joining us again for another exciting week of learning the YOML podcast. So today we're doing reflection 257, and I hope you guys had a good memory weekend. And let's start out a new week with a reflection, but this is not a new book. It's part 5 of 5 of the happiness hypothesis. So let's get into it.
Excited to wrap this up. Yesterday, or I guess last one we did, we wrapped up Thinking Fast and Slow, and today we're wrapping up the happiness hypothesis. So this is the part 5 of 5. If you don't know what the book's about, I refer you to parts 1 through 4. But essentially, it's about each chapter is intended to savor an idea that's been discovered by one of the world's civilizations on what does it mean to be happy, I guess. And then it slowly builds toward the author, who is a psychologist for University of Virginia, where he builds to his ultimate conclusion of his happiness hypothesis at the end of it, what makes us happy based off of science and ancient wisdom and all this other stuff. It's a good book, a really good book. That's why it's one of our top 5 favorites. It's also a book that we read on our core values quest for everybody. I always feel like this is probably one of the fan favorites, I would say, every time that we try to do this book.
It hits the core, right?
It does.
Because, I mean, you're talking about life in general. What's the point of life, right? If part of life, hey, I'm here to be a battery for some AI robot, right, or whatever, right? If you say that's your purpose, then yeah, okay. Then the happiness hypothesis might not align with you. But if you're a human being, like what do you like to do on Earth? Like everybody, I say, hey, what do you like to do? Which is, hey, what is your purpose? Your purpose is to be this, food for another species or whatever. Well, you think about that, it's gonna be different. So I think happiness hypothesis is like core to the purpose of human species in general.
I agree. I mean, I think in his other book, The Righteous Mind, I love that book too. That's one of my other favorite. He's just a good psychologist. I mean, he's original, and like even though he kind of rehashes a lot of studies and stuff, I feel like he has a very original take on a lot of stuff. So I mean, I appreciate him a lot. But that said, this particular reflection is my happiness hypothesis, right? So, the past few years, as we talked about, like it's been a pretty wild and crazy, hectic few years for me. Obviously this whole journey started off with, as we've talked about many times, is the passing away of my daughter. And that really sent me down a road of a lot of self-exploration and trying to figure out what life is all about, what my life is all about. How do I honor my daughter? How do I keep her with me every single day and honor her life? And, just a whole lot of different factors and a lot of exploration and curiosity. And books like this, that's why this whole journey really exists. I feel like as I got to this stage of the journey, the word happiness was starting to bug me. I feel like the word happiness for me has changed a lot over the past few years. Specifically, this is going back to always be impeccable with your word from the 4 agreements. It's really important to define what we mean by it. When somebody says, I want happiness, or I strive for happiness, or I am happy, I know what they're trying to say. They feel in alignment. They feel balanced. They feel fulfilled. They feel in tune with connected with the people around them and the stuff that they get to do every single day, whatever all that stuff means, right? I know that all bundles up into this one tiny word that we all say is happiness. But here's where I feel like the rubber kind of meets the road in our society, is why I feel like their happiness needs a rebranding, in my opinion, because I feel like, and this is just my perception, and you can tell me what you think after we're done with this, but I feel like happiness is an end state in the way that we talk about it in our modern day life, where I want happiness. I am seeking happiness. Like when I do this stuff, ultimately it is to achieve a happy life, right? And it's this far out outcome that we're all striving for. We want to find happiness, right? And the funny thing is I think that we all know, or at least I've learned on this journey, outcomes are meaningless, right? We talked about this before, but I read this, I think, in another book. Do you know the average lifespan of happiness that you get, the feeling of whatever that happiness feeling is that you get from achieving a goal that you've strived really, really hard for? Do you know how long that lasts usually on average?
15 minutes.
The longest, I think that's probably about right, for most things, depending on the level of that. Like, let's say you win the Olympic gold medal and you've been training for 20 years of your life, to win that Olympic gold medal in gymnastics or something like that, or swimming. Let's say swimming, because that's, you'd be maybe like in your early 20s and you've been training since you were 5 years old, and you've had this dream of being an Olympic gold medalist in the 100-meter freestyle, and you win it. How long do you think that happy euphoric feeling of fulfillment, of obtainment, of whatever you were seeking last, like at its peak, at its most?
I would say 5 minutes.
Fair enough. Honestly, I think the studies that I've read or heard in the past were at most it lasts 3 days, win or lose, right? Even if you lost, that awful feeling of failure doesn't last forever. It lasts for at max 3 days. That feeling of bliss, of happiness, of fulfillment, of attainment, of all those words that I was talking about before, like that's what you get. So you spend, let's just pretend you spent 15 years chasing this goal, thousands of days of your life for max 3 days of happiness. Who knows if you enjoyed the process at all along the way? Who knows if you found any happiness there at all? But you did it all in the pursuit of happiness. And then when you get it, you realize, well, shit, that was it. Like I did all this stuff. I spent 5,000 days unhappy in pursuit of happiness, and then you get max 3 days, right? That sounds like shit. Well, you know how many days are in the lifetime of a human being?
100.
27,375 days is the average human being's life in a lifetime, right? So, like, let's say you win 20 gold medals in your lifetime, or something like that, right? And you get that feeling 20 times in the last 3 days. That is 60 days out of 27,375 days you live on this world where you get this feeling of happiness.
But that's max. Max though.
That's
average,
max, right?
Well, average I think is about 1 minute because right. I imagine like the thing is when you win a gold medal, you don't actually get happy. You get happy the moment you stick the landing or whatever it is that you do.
Right.
You hit the home run, 1 minute, right? That euphoric, and then afterward is you still kind of have some of these residual happiness, but it comes with anxiety,
right?
Because you think about like what's gonna happen next. You worry about what's gonna happen next. Because then, for example, okay, you just got first place, then you say, oh yeah, I got first place for 1 minute, maybe less, okay, and then when you worry, oh maybe the second guy might get a better score than me, so you could becoming anxious, okay, so. To me, you think 3 days? It's not really 3 days. 3 days, yes, it could be the longest. Like that's the long tail. But on average, about 1 minute, probably less than a minute, because that's what you do. Is we as human beings, it's conditions to worry about things, right? We worry about if I win a lottery, oh somebody's gonna steal it. Oh I need protection. Oh I need this. Oh I need that. You think about it. All these things start flooding your mind. You're not happy at that point. You think you are, but you're not. Euphoric mean like you are completely blind to everything, and you have that one moment of euphoric. That's euphoric. When you're in the zone, you know what euphoric means. You don't think about anything else. If you have to answer the question, are you happy? That really isn't accurate because you have a lot of other things in mind as well. It trumps euphoric feelings. And so for me, yes, 3 days, yeah. If you count, yeah, that's the longest, but that's not the median or the mode of this state of mind.
I guess what I'm getting at is you're making my point even more for me that, like, instead of, do you agree that the word happiness is usually tied to outcomes?
Yes, happiness is something you want to achieve.
It's an end state, right?
It's an end state. You get there. You get to the happiness place.
Right.
You get to the happy place. That's what we say, happy place, right?
Yeah, right.
Because they imagine I'm going to be there, right? So people say, well, I'm going to be in heaven. Well, that's another place, right? That place is not a place.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Happiness is not a place. It's not a destination. You can't get to an end of it. You can't just grab it. It's not a thing you can grab. It's not something you can land on. And so that's why I agree with you that the word, people take it, I think they took it the wrong way. They think it's an object they can chase after.
It's not. So then what is it, right? So this is my happiness hypothesis. And this is, you already know, this is loving the journey every single day and loving what you do and the people you do it with. And we call that what?
Meaningful relationship.
Or, right? It's doing things that make you happy and fulfilled every single day. It's state of being. It is when you, like, it is what you should strive to do every single day. This is what I've learned from Amelia. This is what I've learned from this journey. This is my happiness hypothesis. I would rather spend 27,375 days doing my damnedest to try to be in a happy, fulfilled, aligned, balanced state of being as many of those days as I possibly can versus going for the max 20, 30, 40, 50 days where I get this incredible high or incredible low. For me, it's all about balance. And that is my happiness hypothesis, is every single day connecting what you love to do with the things that you do every single day and the work that you produce and the people that you can do it with and how you want to do it. Like, and if you can do that every single day, I feel like you will find what we call happiness, which is everyday fulfillment. It may not be, some days maybe you win an Olympic gold medal, right? That could happen. Who knows, right? And I don't
But
care.
even then, you don't care. I
but even then, I
guarantee
don't
you
care.
don't
Right.
care. You
Like,
don't. You don't care. Like somebody gives you a gold medal for being you.
I don't care. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to say that's great.
I mean, this is what we say about, hey, the being world class. I don't really care about being world class. Being me, but being me is world class, right? And so it's counterintuitive. Because the thing is, if you don't care about being world class, then you are actually world class. Probably. But if you care about world class, it means you haven't gotten there yet.
And you're striving for some end state that I was oddly writing about this morning, but this book that I just finished, it was called Why I Hate the Ivy League by Malcolm Gladwell. It's a book I told you about. I think you would really enjoy. In particular, there was this thing that I learned from it that I loved about time constraints. And he was interviewing this grand chess master champion who, I forget his name, but who's ranked the number 13th best traditional chess player in the world. And you know how chess is a timed event, right? You get whatever it is, like an hour, 2 hours for a game or whatever. And each move, you have to click the little timer on and off, right? So that's traditional chess. Well, they also have something called speed chess, where you get less time, it's more condensed, and you have to make more rapid, fast decisions. This guy that's ranked 13th in the world at traditional chess is ranked second in the world at speed chess. And Malcolm Gladwell was interviewing him and he was asking him why. He goes, why do you think? And he goes, well, I feel like I can process 2 to 3 moves ahead very quickly. It's when I get to 4, 5, 6, 7 that I can't do that as fast. And that's why my time frame that's given on traditional chess is I don't do as well for
it's
that.
80-20 rule.
Right. He's just faster. He's the hare in this scenario in that particular time constraint. So time constraints matter, right? The more amount of time you give somebody something, or the less amount of time you give them, like we're creating these games, I guess, if you will, of, who's better or worse or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm tracking. This is interesting. And then Malcolm Gladwell asked him, he goes, well, what would happen if we just removed time constraint completely from the game of chess? Like, and we put all the grandmaster champions in the world, together. He was like, well, what would happen then? And the guy goes, well, nobody would ever win. Every game would be a draw. It would never end. And he was like, why is that? He goes, well, if you give any of us enough time to think through the scenarios, we'll think through every scenario, and we'll never be able to beat the person, that we're playing against. And he was like, that's kind of wild. He was like, so basically every chess game that's ever been played, they have to put time on it in order to determine who's better and who's worse, right? So this is where my mind started going to holy shit. I started thinking of people like Novak Djokovic. There's a difference between conquerors and marathoners, right? Novak Djokovic is a conqueror, right? That guy, you're going to give him a certain amount of time when he can play at the peak of his prime with most of his abilities, with the windows when he can be the absolute best in the world. That guy is a conqueror. Tiger Woods is a conqueror. Michael Jordan is a conqueror. But I said, I'm an explorer, is what I said. Conquerors versus explorers. If you're an explorer, in my opinion, you'll do it forever and you'll enjoy it. I'm not going to be as good as Novak now. I won't be as good as Novak in 15 years. His residual skills will be better. I may not be as better than him for 20 years, but what I can almost guarantee you is that somewhere along the way, he will stop playing tennis because he can't conquer it anymore. It doesn't really matter. And now he's going to go find another thing to go conquer. What I can probably guarantee you is I'll probably still be playing, when I'm 80, if I'm allowed to. And if Novak even could make it onto the court, or even wanted to make it onto the court, I probably would be in better shape and have been slowly getting better over the course of all that time, because I've been exploring my own game and enjoying what I'm doing. And I probably will be able to beat Novak Djokovic. I guess this is what I'm getting at with all this stuff is he's going to spend his whole entire life up until about right now. We're about the same age. I don't know if he's ever happy. I honestly, every time I ever see him in an interview, he kind of just looks miserable. He looks so laser focused. And I'm like, are you enjoying any of this? Is any of this fun for you? Or is it just, I need to be the greatest Grand Slam champion of all time, and then I'll have happiness, but no, that's when he retires probably, and he'll probably just go chase and want to conquer something next. That's what the people like that do, right? It's just different. It's just a different mindset. I would rather be an explorer than a conqueror. I don't give a shit about conquering anything in this world anymore, right? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you also referenced the fat head and long tail. Right. That's essentially what it is. You have something that shoots in it lights up the sky and then it disappears into the night. Or you have a light that just, it dims, but it's on forever, right? That light has more lumens than the big bang of a fireworks, right? Big boom, right? It's like in the split second, you have this massive bright light in the sky versus a little lamp that's dim, but it's on forever. And so that's the thing is in life, you don't want to be the fathead, right? You want a long tail because for the most people who are in a fathead are conquerors. They don't enjoy it. The journey is they're trading in this delusion,
fulfillment and joy,
these delusions of finding this holy grail, right? The holy grail say, okay, when I become
I'm the best movie star in the world, most successful movie star,
then I'm happy. Or when I become a tennis champion, I'm happy. Or when I won a Super Bowl, I'm happy. So that is the biggest lie that people told themselves is when I get this, I'll be happy.
Right.
That is the biggest lie because, like I said, even if you got to the point where you have achieved the thing you think you want, it only lasts less than a minute.
Right.
And then after that, and that's why people say, well, I gotta go conquer another one. I say, what's the point? Even if you are the richest man in the world, even if you're the fastest man in the world, right? You can't be fastest forever. You can be richest forever. It's not possible. Somebody else is gonna beat you. But that's the thing is, what's the point of trading in the things that you want, right? Your time, your happiness that you would have gotten if you didn't chase something, right? Having that chase actually took away the time you would. So when you say yes to something, you say no to everything else.
Right. Do you think that guy's ever been happy a day in his life?
Probably the most miserable person in the world because he practiced so much. I mean, everything in order for you to be world class at something, you have to put time into it. And there is time. If you don't like what you put time in, you're going to hate your life. And if you are naturally good at what you do, you're going to find excuses to do it. Like, I love to play poker. Or I love to eat. I love to, go play tennis. I love whatever. You're going to be spending time and you think that's your reward, not your punishment. And so those people is the only person that can do the long tail, which is they can be there forever because, until you take them off the face of the earth, right? Until they leave life, they are going to do exactly what they want to do. And to them, that's their reward. Say, I get to do this. I get to do this. It's like, okay, do your dishes, then you get to play a game. So the point is when you do a dishes or when you play a game, let's say an alien comes to Earth and say, well, this person does dishes and this person play games, right? To that alien, those two person does the same thing. They exert some kind of movement, exert some kind of energy to perform an action.
Right.
But from our perspective, we know the difference. You do the dishes, you get to play game. you go wreck the yard, you get ice cream, right? You think about it. So the act of doing for us, right, is exactly the same, but it's the perspective of why you're doing it. And so when you have a person who
it makes it all the difference. Like this is what I'm talking about. This is the happiness hypothesis. Like this is like
that's the only difference.
It is a mega difference when you try to have 27,375 days of happiness or 5 minutes, or 2 days or whatever. Like it's this whole idea of like what do you call it? The whole marshmallow test of like delayed gratification, right? Of like how long can you delay, wanting the marshmallow. I bet there's some kids that are like, Luca, if you put a marshmallow in front of him, he would go, I don't want anything to do with that because I don't eat this shit. Like, I don't eat sweet stuff. He'd just be like, whatever. They're going to go, man, this kid's got unbelievable amount of willpower. And we go, no, he just doesn't like marshmallows. He doesn't eat them. He just doesn't do what he doesn't want to do. Maybe when he gets to be a certain age and and he knows we're testing him, and he's like, well, should I eat the marshmallow?
And even if you do know that you're testing you, and you say, well, I can exert willpower on myself. And then you say, well, that guy has success. But what does that mean? How do you measure that, right? You say, well,
what is success?
Who
Like,
make
you
up
know?
the rule? Who make a rule
Right.
that, hey, this guy is successful, this guy is failure? Who make up the rule? No one knows, and you
No one.
pretend to know. And to
Right.
me, you're more wrong than right, because when you basically morph something into your own prerogative to say, well, if you do a certain thing, then yeah, you're just making up random shit.
Right. It's a game.
has,
You
has
invented a
nothing
game.
to do with anything. I mean, it has
Right.
nothing to do with life. You can't say, well, this guy is a success because, you know, he adhered to all these doctrines. When you think about it, I mean, if you say, hey, this guy, let's say I have two guys. One guy is really good at following the rules, and one guy is not, right? So I asked you, which guy is successful and which guy isn't successful? No one knows, because how do you determine that? If you make up a rule, you just make up no random shit. There's nothing for you to say, well, universally, you know, this guy is better, or this guy is better. No, like you're saying, is if you say, hey, let's do a marshmallow test, you put it in front of Luca, he said he doesn't want it because he doesn't
want it. Like, he literally didn't want the marshmallow.
Nothing to do with whether or not this guy's successful or failure, right? That's what I'm saying is people are not something you can create this standardized test. If you standardize human beings, right, you are already making a mistake. Because you can't.
If you think this is somehow, if we can gamify, you know, like games are great. I love games. Like, they're fun as hell and they're addicting, right?
But game is not a singleton, right? So
it could be any the point.
So like, or you like some game, I like some other games, but they're still games to me. But sometimes it's not game for you.
Right. Exactly.
So the thing is, you can't say, well, let's create a game and everybody loves it. No, everybody loves their own version of their game. So game isn't something that you say, hey, classify as a universal thing that everybody understands what a game is.
Right.
Sometimes, you know, bullying people is a game to you, but sometimes to other people it isn't.
Yes. So yesterday, my wife and I, we took Luca down to the tennis courts that are like 2 minutes away from my house. He loves pickleball and he loves tennis. He loves just having a pickleball paddle in his hand, or a tennis racket, a little baby junior tennis racket in his hand. And he loves having a little ball in his hand at all times at this point in time. This has been like a month now straight of obsession over it, right? So we normally are just playing around our yard and around the house. I decided, hey, like, we're walking down the park, we're gonna go play or whatever. So we brought a little tennis ball down there on the courts, and there was nobody out because it was like a holiday weekend. We had the run of a massive stretch of concrete, much open space, and, you know, he'd go do whatever he would do. So he would just throw the ball and run really fast to go get it, and then he would stop it and he'd pick it up and he would throw it another way. He'd run really fast, go get it. He did this for like an hour and a half, and, you know, and then he wanted to play. He just kept it was a nonstop. I just want to keep playing and do the same thing over and over and over again. You know, whack the little ball, and I'm gonna go run and go get it. I'm gonna whack the little ball, I'm gonna run and go get it. So he was having so much fun. His face was flushed. He was red. He was a pale, pasty little white kid. So, you know, he looks like he's getting a little bit of a sunburn. He won't drink any water. He won't stop to drink anything. He won't whatever. And we're like, oh, okay, all right. And it was getting close to his bedtime now. So it's like 7 o'clock, and he usually goes to bed at like 7:30. So we were like, we should probably get him back to the house and get him some food, get him some hydration before he goes to bed, you know, like our normal routine. And so my wife and I, we like look at each other and we're like, all right, Luca, it's time to go. You know, let's go get you back in the stroller. So we try to pick him up with his little ball in his hand, put him in the stroller, and he just goes like, like, just like screaming everywhere. And like there was one other like group of 4 people that were playing pickleball in another court down, and they were like, oh my god, what are they doing to this kid, you know? So we were like trying to shove him into the car and like hold him there while we tried to strap him in. He just was like bucking. Look at him, he was like an exorcist, right? And he was just like flying around everywhere, and we're like, Jesus Christ, all right, fine, that's it, like, we won't push him in the stroller. So I just picked him up and I just started carrying him off the courts. And I'm holding him in my arms, like just like a football almost, because he's like kicking his legs everywhere, screaming, screaming. And he did this for the entire way, all the way home from like it's like a 7-minute walk from the courts to our house, you know, or something like that, up a big hill. So he's screaming the entire way home, flailing, kicking, and all this because I stopped his game, right? You know, like he was so into it. Now. That's happiness. You know what I mean? Like that you want to talk about all the things that you and I talk about. Like as I was watching that, I was like, man, this kid just fucking loves throwing a ball and going to get it.
We had a ball in it, two times to throw the ball. Right. Okay, I don't want to do it anymore. But for a kid to do that for an hour and a half and still kicking and wailing, that guy loves to play pickleball, tennis, whatever it is he thinks he's playing.
It was weird. I mean, but this is kind of what we've been talking about all the time. Like, this is his. I wasn't mad at him. I was kind of laughing because I was like, I'm glad that he really enjoys this stuff, right? Because I know how to make him happy when he wants to be happy. You know, just like take him down to the track and give him take the ball, just let him go whacking around. Like, I didn't do this to him. Like, I didn't make him do this stuff. Like,
you can't. You actually can't.
I know,
right? I'm saying you cannot force, even for you to force yourself.
Right.
Not even talking about forcing other people. It's impossible.
Right.
You are who you are. In order for you to be happy, you have to be you. If you don't, and you trying to be something you're not, that takes so much willpower. That will stop. It's very short. It cannot prolong for a long period of time. It's not possible unless that's the thing that you want to do. I mean, it's the thing you get to do, right? That's why you say, hey, well, Luca, eat your greens, you can get play tennis ball, right? Like people say, you know, let's say, you know, people like for kids, right? You know, you think about, let's say, a kid who doesn't like tennis, but then you're the, you know, tennis champion.
You're like,
you want your kid to be like Tiger Woods, you know, the next Tiger Woods of tennis.
Right.
Hey, go son, go. His son is completely, I'm not interested in this, right? That is torturing. You are making his life miserable, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Even if he likes it, like, okay, and you force him to overdo it, right? It becomes a chore for him. Right. Like Tiger Woods may not mind playing golf, but
I'm sure he loved it when he was a kid. I mean, honestly, I bet you money, like if you ask Tiger Woods, like, when was the last time you loved playing golf? He'd probably be like, when I was out, you know, playing with my dad or something like that on the golf course, and I was getting better every day, and I could play when I wanted to, and we get ice cream afterwards or something like that, right? I guarantee you, Tiger Woods didn't force himself to play golf. He fell in love with golf. Then he fell in love with winning, and he fell in love with the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, so today reminds me of the Japanese culture and Asian cultures in general. And I'm Asian, so I gotta know about this. But Asian kids are not very happy because they are told to do certain things because it's cultural. They have to listen to their parents, especially in Japan, right? These guys do not like the stuff that they do. They are forced to because, you know, hey, everybody say you gotta be this or you gotta be that, right? You know, why do you think kids, like Asian kids, are good at math?
Because they're forced to do math all day long.
They're forced to do math all day long. Right?
I mean, anybody can get good at anything if you make them do it all day long. That doesn't mean that they enjoy it. And it makes them happy. No, I want to do more algebra. You're like, shit. I think this kid really likes algebra.
But saying is, in the Japanese society, it leads the Asian culture in mandating the kids to become a particular, and especially now in China is picking up that as well, because, you know, if a kid has some kind of a talent, whether a talent it fits their characteristic or not, they are put into this conditioning or training to become this Olympians. Right? Like, you know, I can swim or I can play baseball, and that's all they do day in, day out. They are basically trained to win the Olympics. To me, that's no lie. You think, hey, you know, this person has this opportunity to do whatever, but when that person have achieved the Olympics, they will have regrets in their life because they didn't get to do what they want to do. They didn't have a normal life, right? And so it isn't about having a normal life or not. It's about the ability to choose.
Fulfillment. Yeah, it's about fulfillment of what you're doing and what you're not doing every single day, you know, and who you're doing it with and why you're doing it. You know, that is my happiness hypothesis. Is like, if all those things are in alignment, you're probably going to have a pretty happy, fulfilled, balanced, aligned, whatever you want to call it, life. You know, that feeling is that we're all chasing, that we all want. You can have that every single day is, I think, the point of what we're trying to get at with all this stuff. It doesn't have to be some secret, crazy, you know, you got to climb Mount Everest to find happiness or fulfillment. You can climb Mount Everest, and each day you can have a great day climbing Mount Everest. And at the end of it, you can look down and you're like, oh, well, I just climbed Mount Everest. Actually, I fucked Mount Everest. I climbed 5 Mount Everest on accident, you know, like, and I didn't even, it wasn't hard. I didn't even think about it.
Climb Mount Everest and you like it, right? You would never think to yourself, hey, I climbed Mount Everest. It's only when somebody told you, hey, you Chris, you know, you climb 5 Mount Everest, and you say, oh, yeah, well, I think I did. Yeah. Because you would never think about it.
Right.
You think about it, that is counterintuitive to how we think, right? When we are good at something, you don't think you're good at it because you don't have the time to sit there and say, well, I want to be this person, because you're preoccupied with doing the thing that makes you feel like, hey, this is great. This is interesting. This is very give me this lively feeling, whatever that's feeling that you're trying to, whatever. Some people hate tennis, right? People hate tennis, and you tell them to play tennis, it's a chore.
Like,
But
fuck that.
somebody is like,
my wife would never,
say,
like, she's like,
stop.
yeah, this is torture. I gave up. I've like begged her, before, where I'm like, just try it. Like, she's like, no, I don't even want to try it.
I don't like drinking beer. If you tell me to drink beer, that's torture to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or wine, whatever. It's torture
Right.
to me. But to people, they're paying like hundreds of
Lots of money.
dollars
Yeah.
a day to go and sit and drink and drink and drink. For me, it's like, why am I drinking this bitter stuff? Yes,
People
I
go to
think you can
college
get
to drink. I mean,
yeah.
to get a degree in winemaking, those are degrees now. People go to higher education and pay for this. I mean, to your point, you don't like it, and that's fine. So talk about willpower. If they did a beer and wine test, like how long could, hey,
I ain't touching that thing. But
glasses,
I mean, hey,
I want one.
This guy has so much willpower. It hasn't touched it for like 40
years. Like, man,
it's been 4 years since I had my last beer. It's like, what?
And you're like, man, this guy just must be
this guy's super,
right.
super willpower.
I like beer. Yeah. But that's the point. If somebody made you like beer, if they're like, you know what, to be a part of this society and to be successful, you need to be a beer maker and you need to drink beer.
No, you need to be a drinker. To be successful in the American society, okay, and it's not just American, in any culture, you have to be able to drink, okay? Because even in my culture, right, if you can't hold your liquor, they won't respect you, okay? Yeah. And I don't drink a single drop, so imagine how they look at me, right?
Well, actually, if they were smart, they would look at you like, man, this guy can hold the most amount of liquor, like, it's like a catch-22 at that, or reverse psychology. You'd be like, I'm the best drinker because I don't drink. Like, then I don't, I can not drink all night long with you, and I guarantee you that I will outlast you. You'll be passed out before I'm passed out because I can sit here and be sober.
Yeah, because I wouldn't get passed out. Right. I never drink.
Exactly.
If you drink beer,
drink you under the table.
Because the thing is, if you drink beer, eventually you will pass out. That's given. Like if you continue to drink beer, if you are, have a high tolerance for it, then yeah, you can go long more cans of beers or whatever.
Hey, you have the highest tolerance for beer. You'd win every drinking contest.
That's the point, is when you forcing something, right? When you forcing your body to take in this beer, eventually you pass out because your body will collapse. Right. If you do something your body is naturally at it, and you don't collapse. So the point is, the happiness is a transition. It's a state. It's not an end state. It's a state of being you, right? So the happy state is the state of you. When you are being you, you are the most happy.
Right. So that's exactly it. Yeah. That's my happiness hypothesis. It's like, if you can be yourself as much as you possibly can every single day, you will have a more fulfilling, happy life than somebody that's thinking of happiness as an end state. I can almost guarantee it.
Happiness as an end state isn't happiness because you're anxious. You're anxious all the time. Right. Because when you are chasing it, you're anxious. Right. When you got it, you're anxious. Because when you got it, you say, well, how can I keep it?
This is hilarious. This is my last story because I got to go to bed. But today I was having a one-on-one with one of my employees, and we were talking about a similar topic. We were talking about his career, right? And during the point of this conversation, I was explaining to him, because he was talking about how he's been inundated with, as we all knew that this was going to happen, and in this world that I work in, it's a highly competitive job environment when experience really matters. Like as in the tech space, I'm sure you get hit up 24/7 for opportunities that are like, hey, True's been doing this stuff forever. You would never have to look for another job ever again if you didn't want to. If you wanted to work somewhere, you could get a job tomorrow if you needed to, right?
Pretty much. I mean, that's the thing, is once you get to the point where 80% of all the companies are chasing the 20% of the workers.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I was getting at.
And in the tech space, it's like 99.
Exactly. So like, I don't have to necessarily ever probably worry much for the rest of my career at this stage if I wanted to stay in this world of ever being employed. In my personal opinion, I feel like my track record and my career speaks for itself at this point in time, and I'm in an industry where that's highly desirable, and it's really hard to get to where I've gotten to in terms of what my resume looks like on paper, right? Now as I'm telling my employee about this, and I was kind of going through my career of how I got to where I got to today and how I'm managing him, and he's relatively newer in his career. He said to me, he goes, "Man, you haven't made." He's like, he was like, "I would kill to have your life at this point in time." And I was like, "No, you wouldn't." I was like, "What are you talking about, man?" I was like, we talk every single day about living your values and bringing this stuff to life. And I'm like, you're seeing just some statistics that I'm telling you about how I've got to where I got to and what those outcomes that has been generated during a period of time in my life. But I was like, there's so much other stuff that goes into all that of like, was I in the right environment? Was I doing stuff that I love to do? Was I happy? There's many times when I was depressed as hell or having panic attacks. Like people, we see this thing that we think that we want so badly, and you're like, man, your life is made. And I'm like, you're saying that to me, but I'm telling you it's not, because I'm not fulfilled yet. I'm not at an end state where I want to be every single day. If anything, it's offensive to tell somebody that, like this is what you want to strive for, then you're missing the whole point of the whole entire thing, right? Like you don't get to that unless you do the right things where you understand yourself. And this is what I was telling him. I was like, you need to understand yourself, understand what you love to do, put yourself in those environments where that shit is valued, and the people that you're around in those environments have to be, because you could be the same person in a completely different environment and be fucking miserable and be the person that everybody's like, man, that guy sucks. Like, and like you could be the exact same person and in a completely different environment, and they're like, man, that guy's a rock star, And I'm like, that's all you should focus on is, are you doing that every single day? Because there's going to be recruiters that come after you all the time. There's always going to be somewhere else where they're going to dangle, money or something in front of you. The only thing that matters is, are you happy and fulfilled right now doing what you're doing and in the right environment and around the people you want to be around? Like, that's it. Like, and if you're doing that, then you should be pretty damn happy. You know what I mean? And the other stuff will come eventually. It just will, and I don't know. It was an interesting conversation because we're having it about this right now. It's just always funny with different paradigms, right? Of people where somebody's going to look at your life, True, and they're going to say, True has an amazing life. And now the more and more that I think about that,
I do have an amazing life now,
right,
but my life was miserable up until a few years ago.
Right.
Because, I mean, I run my own company, right? I have a lot of projects, but I have had no time for myself. And I did not want that. My health deteriorates. It gets to the point where, like I told you, I can't sleep at night because, my body is, that's the thing is, there's never ever going to be you chasing something and you're going to get it and you have everything you wanted plus the thing you had before. You're going to have to trade something. And what you trade for, sometimes you don't want to trade that. And to me, I've regret doing that. I regret trading those things for the thing I'm chasing for. That's why like I say, I was running this company and I just gave up. I just basically, I just raised my hand and said, look, I ain't doing it anymore. Cancel my contract. I don't want to fulfill anymore.
Right.
The thing is, my contract with government is like,
I don't want to chase anything.
1 year plus you get renewal up to 5 years. So after 1 year of the contract fulfillment, I declined the renewal. The renewal was like automatic. That if you continue to want it, you can keep it.
Right.
I did not want to keep it because I don't want to do it. Right. And so that's what I'm saying is, you think that my life before is what you want. And my life today is pathetic because I don't do anything. It's like, you're such a boring guy. Like Tuesday with Maury kind of guy. You're such a boring guy. But that's what I'm saying is, I'm happy now versus I'm happy. Was it that when I was running a company where I'm doing a lot of projects, I have a lot of people, I like a lot of stuff. I mean, you're talking about this high profile person. I don't want that. Right. I mean, to me, I don't want to get up and go to these meetings with vendors and with clients and with, I hate dealing with people. To other people, it could be a great job because they love people. I don't like interaction with people, right? And because I lead a company and have to interact with them, I have to solve problems. I'm a people problem solver, and to me, that's the worst role I've ever taken. Because I had to,
I love that stuff.
Two vendors, right? One vendor is doing this one. I say, well, you two need to get together because you guys got to provide the operation. You guys got to have a government contract writers and have somebody who's fulfilling the contract. You guys get together and they have this jealousy. Say, Mr. Win is, value me more than you, blah, blah. I say, I don't give a shit about it. Just work together.
Right.
I beg you to work together. Please stop bickering. So I don't care. Just get it done. But they don't. So I had to say, well, fine. Go away, do it. And I had to step in and do everything myself. Same thing is when I have projects, I bring all this like best minds, like, best project manager, best architect, best temper. They don't work together. It's like they have different ideas, and they say, well, blah blah blah. I have to go in there and say, you go over there, you go over there, let me take care of this, right?
Right.
And so to me, it's a big mess, and I'm always fixing things and fixing problems, like people problems. I do not like to fix people problems, but I like to do.
I love that.
I like to do other stuff. So to me, my life on paper is great. In reality, from my perspective, it is horrible.
Right.
It is terrible time. I basically have nightmares about it when I'm gonna sleep. But I imagine the other problems start coming up. The moment I just drop everything, like my health improved, my peace of mind improved, and I'm happier. Even though people look at me like, "Hey, this guy is just basically become a useless person."
Well, that's not true at all.
But that's the perspective,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Because like if you give me Elon's job today with his money and his responsibility, I would take that job.
I'd probably puke, honestly. If I had to probably look at one day of his schedule, I'd probably be like,
I look at your schedule and I puke.
Right.
And you look at my time in a chair, looking at code. Like, I mean, talking about like science and simple, right? You going to probably want to bash your head against the something hard to kind of wake it up, because you're going to
all day
bore yourself to death.
I will absolutely. I could do that for an hour a day, maybe 2 max, and then I'd be like, all right, I got to go do something fun, because I would.
You imagine me? I sit at a computer, right, and have big screen monitor. I have like 6 computers, all running right now.
I have one laptop that, if you gave me a dual monitor, I'd be like, I don't know how to use this. I've tried it before, and my attention is
dual monitor. My dual monitor is not enough space. I maxed out all of the rigs that I have, because it won't run, because I've run multiple versions of different projects and whatever, and I max them out because can't run anymore.
That sounds
so the thing is, that's
awful.
Something I like, but it's awful to other people. What I'm saying is, when you look at the person where they're at, if it doesn't align with you, it doesn't mean shit. It means worse than shit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it means absolutely less. It means if you're having nightmares about what you do every single day, you need to probably take a look at not do that anymore.
People want to say, I achieved this. I mean, actually on my screen there is a picture of I don't know, can I show my screen real quick?
Yeah, sure. Give me to stop sharing.
Okay, that's my screen. You see it?
Yeah.
That is what I wake up to.
What's with the panda?
It's a red panda. That's what I do.
Is that your spirit animal? Is the red panda?
Maybe. I don't know. I just my to-do list is nothing. That is what I wake up to. That's what I'm looking forward to.
That's nice. I like that.
So like I say, to other people, I'm this useless person who does nothing. My dreams do nothing. Like people say, hey, what's your dream job? You ask me, I don't dream of working.
Right.
So the thing is,
$1 million do nothing, man. I think the moral of the story is it's a state of
alignment.
Being.
It's alignment.
Right? It's alignment.
It's a state of you.
Right.
The happy state, right? It's a state of you. You can be you, then you're gonna be at your utmost maximum happiness level, whatever that is, and it's gonna be continuous. So
it's sustainable.
Whoever you are, gotta be you. If you are allowed to be you, then you have, because that state is not an end state. It's a transition state. It's a state in transition. And as human, one of the saying, I think Snow brought it up, is life is in a transition. We are made to move. We can't stop. The moment you stop is when you don't have anything to look forward to. Therefore, you end. Your life ends there. We are transition. When you are doing you, then you are happy.
Right. But doing's the key, right? Like doing what you want with who you want
And
and how you want to do it.
the point is because we are a person that likes to do, right? The things that we like to do, that's why doing is the key. But to some other animal, doing is not their key, then doing isn't the key for them, right? Because it's just how we're made. Like I say, back to the basic.
Yeah, koalas don't do shit. They just eat and go to sleep. They sleep for like 22 hours a day. They eat for 2 hours a day.
And they're happy, right?
Yeah,
and that's the key to their happiness. We as a human species, we are explorers and discoverers. We have to move. If we don't move in that fashion, we are stagnant and we are going to, throw up and die. Just like when we say, hey, you don't use it, you lose it. And that's true because, we are constantly changing. We are made to be adaptive. That is our biggest strength in terms of how we become this apex species is we are adapting. And the moment we stop adapting, we stop being us.
I mean, maybe there's a reason why Queen Elizabeth lived until she was, 90 plus years old or whatever, because she was working, living a purpose driven life,
working.
She was just being her, but she was doing what she loved because she really does love that job. You could tell. I mean,
if you love to meet people, you love to say, hey, what's your problem today? Hey, what's your balance today?
I don't love to meet people. I love to help people that I like.
The thing that you do, if it aligns with you, then you are going to be happy. And when you're happy, you're going to live a long time. If you're a beaver and you are allowed to build dams, you will live a long time. If you are a donkey and you get to gallop, in some animals, like you get to carry something, you live a long time. If you don't carry anything, you will die early.
Right.
Yeah. Because you're not allowed to be in you. So that's, to me, is important because people need to understand that whoever you are, based on your genetic makeup, you have to allow that person to express that gene. And that is bottom line. So you cannot get away from it. You can't change yourself. You can't say, hey, I don't care about my gene. I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that. You're just creating misery for yourself.
Agreed.
I've seen it because that's what I did. I chased these dreams that I was told that's what you're supposed to do. Get good grades. Because when I was in Vietnam, right, I was a dumbass kid. I ranked last in class all the time. I get to fights all the time, right? There's no future for me. Then when I came to the United States, right, somebody told me, hey, you got to study hard. You got to do all these things. I did. I started. So I got perfect attendance from 6th grade into 12th grade. Not a day I missed, right?
Pretty impressive, honestly.
So the thing is, I was told, I was sold these dreams. But to me, that's not who I want to be. I don't care about perfect. I don't care about achieving high. And then after college, right, I graduated early. I finished school in 3 years, right? And I even win awards for the stuff that I do in chemistry. Not even a blow off major either, right? I finished that, right? So I excel at what I do, right? Because I was sold this story. I was sold this dream. And then I go to work, for a prominent company that works for us. And then I start my own company and I do consulting for these Fortune 100 companies.
All things are pointing toward a really successful, happy life, right?
Yes. So because I was sold this dream, but I sacrificed so much that I would actually take it back. If I had a time machine, I would not have done it.
Right.
Because it gets to the point where I say, I don't care about the grades. I don't care about making this reputations or this job or this money. All the money I've made, it's gone. It's not like I can keep it. It's gone. It's go somewhere. Somebody's gonna use one to do that. So that's what I'm saying is, the point is because you're not aligning. It doesn't matter what you achieve. It is a regrets. Only regrets.
I agree.
Because you think about it, if you look at my life, right? Yeah, I was a dumbass kid up until 10 years old or 5th grade, whatever. I was happy. I remember having a blast when I was younger.
Right.
Then I had all these achievements. misery, all the memories of misery. And then when
100%.
the moment I met you, right, when I do nothing, and when I'm talking about shit on on this podcast, it's
Right.
when it's like, hey, I'm happy, and you and I are on this thing. My point is, without alignment, it means nothing.
I mean, 1,000% agree. And actually, I have a lot of thoughts on that, especially from the immigrant experience. That some event that my wife made me go to was with immigrants. I had this exact comment of what you just said. Not that I'm an immigrant, but this was an award show for immigrants, Latina immigrants that were new to the country and had been here for a few years and had achieved a lot at high school, and they were getting scholarships to go to college and stuff. And they worked so hard. Like everybody in this room worked so hard. I heard their speech. They all gave up, and there were 7 of them. They all came up and gave a speech, and everybody cheered them. And they all were like, I want so badly for this American dream and all this other stuff. And when we left, it was moving because I could feel the kids' passions. But at the same time, they were dressed like in a tux and suit or like a really nice dress. The way that they talked was trying to be very much so like everybody else in this room when they wanted to be who they wanted to be and emulate. And then, like, as I was walking out of the thing with my wife, after feeling for them, because they went through a lot. They went through traumatic experiences, some of them, in the way that they described their lives and things of how they even got to where they got to today. And I told my wife, I was like, it's ironic because every one of those kids said they want to be me, basically. And I was like, they don't want to be me. I was like, I don't want them to be me. I was like, I want them to be them, and I want them to be who they want to be. I was like, I don't want them to go to college why do they want to go to college? Like, why do they want this education so they can go get a job being a lawyer or something like that somewhere because somebody else said that's what they should do? Like,
Because it's a marshmallow and it's sweet. You're supposed to eat it.
Right. And I was telling my wife this, and she was like, here's the thing is you don't understand is like, that is success. That is what everybody tells them is success. Like, you will be happy when you get your education, when you get your degree from somewhere, when you strive to be this professional and you've made it, when you came from Honduras or you came from Ecuador, or you came from some place that nobody wanted you to be in. You left your family behind in pursuit of a better life. This is the better life. By God damn it, you're going to go get it, and everybody in this room is going to cheer you on, and everybody in this room is going to applaud you and say, it's so moving, you going after this stuff. And I walked out of there with talking to my wife going like, why do they want to be me? I was like, I don't want to be me. I was like, what am I missing here? I was like, why did we do it? And she was like, you don't understand. And I'm like, I do get it, but I don't get it. At the same time, I'm like, what? Like, they don't want my life. Like, trust me. Like, I didn't want my life.
No, I don't know. Because the thing is, I had to go through that to understand that whatever I'm chasing, it's not worth it. Because right now, the only thing that's important to me is my family and my health, right? My health is why I make enough money to put a roof over the head, put food on the table. And nothing extravagant, but that's what makes me happy. I don't have dreams of becoming like wealthy and anything like that. I say, well,
Right.
Give me enough money for me to do what I want to do. And I like other things. I like building things. I like woodworking. I like gardening. Right. I like build programs. I like build apps. I like to build websites, software, whatever. I like all those things. And to me, if you are allowed to do the thing based on your free will, that gives you that mental state of I get to choose to do
Right.
this, right? That makes a whole lot of difference. Just like I told you before, I love to build stuff, right? If my wife told me to go and build something, like, hey, I need more closet, go build me a closet, right? I won't build it because it's not because I want to. The thing is, I am built in a way that if somebody I love needs me, then it gives me great joy to provide a solution for them. So if my wife comes to me and say, hey, I have all this stuff, I don't know where to put it. And then I go out and I build her a closet. I love that project.
Right.
But if she told me, hey, I need you to go build me a closet, I hate that job.
Yeah, right. Fuck that. Yeah.
So you think about it, it's the same thing, the same effort, but what's the difference? The difference is perspective. You get to choose it. So having that in mind, in order for you to become happy, the happiness hypothesis in this reflection is about the ability to choose who you are and what you do. It's the art of being you. If you can be that, then happiness is the best thing the best happiness state of mind you can ever have. Nothing else will Yeah, all day and every day and forever until you leave this earth.
Right. And that's, I would, all right, we're gonna have to put a pin there on it because we're way over time now and I need to go to bed. But all right, that was fun conversation as always. And that concludes our part 5 of 5 with the happiness hypothesis. And thanks for joining. We'll see you all tomorrow night.
That was good. Good night.